Welcome back to another episode of 8158 Podcast Stories of Sacrifice. Today, we're honored to share the story of Monty Montanez. Monty's journey started with a strict but loving household, moving often as a child before landing in Texas. He went on to become a two-time junior Olympian and ranked number 4 in the nation as a runner. Discipline that carried him into a decade of military service with deployments to Bosnia, Kosovo, and the Middle East after 9/11. But his story didn't stop there. Monty studied abroad in China, earned his MBA, lived in Hong Kong, speaks multiple languages, built businesses, and created a transport company to serve veterans. Today, he's retired, 100% disabled from his service, and stepping up to run for Congress in Texas. This conversation is about resilience, sacrifice, and the call to serve no matter the battlefield. Let's dive in.
You're listening to 8158 Stories of Sacrifice, where we honor the bravery of the first responders and the families who stand behind them. Real people, real stories, real heroes. This is 8158. Welcome back to another episode of 8158 Podcast Stories of Sacrifice. Today's guest is we have Monty Montanez. He is retired military, correct?
No, 10 years. Served 10 years.
Okay, so you're former military.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Former military, served 10 years, just like you said. And let's give Monty a warm welcome. He is a man of presence, a man of God, and I believe that he's going to have a great message for you after we get done with the interview. And so just listen to what he has to say. How's it going, Monty?
Well, first of all,
sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Yeah, thanks, Rico. Thanks for having me on. I'm a big supporter, a big fan of 8158 podcast. Appreciate you bringing me on today and just breaking the proverbial bread with me, if you will.
Yeah.
So yeah, my name is Monty Montanez. I'm running for U.S. Congress in Texas 32. It's one of the districts that were redistricted, and so I know that that's a big political topic today. But I would like to say that, as you mentioned, I'm a man of faith. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a combat veteran. I've served this country. I've worn the uniform, and I'm ready to serve again. And fundamentally, I believe in 3 basic things: faith, family, and community. But all of that is based on service before self. You need to learn how to serve others before you serve yourself. And if you understand that, I feel like then you're moving in the right direction.
Exactly. Yeah, serve others before yourself. Can't be a good leader unless you're serving others.
Yeah. Well, and so you hit on a point there. Oftentimes I hear a lot of political leaders, and they'll talk about that, whether they're stumping for another term in office or whether they're serving, and they'll talk about leadership and how we can lead and how we need to lead and what leadership needs to mean. Well, I think they got it all wrong. Or at least in my heart, I don't see it that way. So I'm running for office not because I want to be the leader of District 32 of Texas. I believe the way you understand how to serve someone is by getting out there, meeting them in their space, understanding what their wants and needs are, understanding the pain points, having those uncomfortable conversations, and being unapologetic about what you believe in so they know where you stand, right?
Right. Exactly.
And that's called service. You are a servant. You serve them. And when you get to wherever you're going, whether that be your state capital, or whether that be, on your city council, or whether that be Washington, D.C., your job is to serve their will, not to lead them. There is no leadership. There's service. And I feel like if you understand that, then you keep that humility, you stay humbled, and you'll be able to really share their message in the best way possible.
Yeah, well said. Well said. If you don't mind, I would like to kind of go over a couple of questions I had for you, and then we can chat a little bit about what your plans are for the future. Uh, so let's get into your childhood real quick, and let's talk about how when you moved around a lot as a kid before landing into Texas, uh, how did that contrast and that constant changing shape your growing up?
Well, I was an Army brat. And so I come from a long line of service. And that was central in my everyday. Um, that service before self I was talking about. So I saw it firsthand. It wasn't something that my parents or my father sat down and said, "Hey, Monty, this is what service means, and this is the type of person you need to be." He demonstrated that on a daily basis. I learned through his action. Right? He had faith in everything that he does, or he did, and everything that he still does. Right? And so by demonstrating that on a daily basis, I learned from that. I learned what humility is. I learned what it is to listen to others and to have faith in discourse and dialogue, and that it's okay for us to be different, so long as that we're okay to have that communication. I saw it in my family. My father came to this country in his 20s and didn't know a lick of English, but he came to this country. He tied his boots, got out there, got a job, joined the military, took care of his family, and served his country. And so he just set a great example. And that's what I learned. I learned that no matter where we moved and no matter where we were, at the center of our everyday discussion was you lead by example, but you do that by serving others.
Right. Excellent. Absolutely. Lead by example and serve others. Uh, you know, we're not like real big leaders as far as in the podcast realm, but we are leading by example by allowing our law enforcement and first responders to have a voice. And, a lot of focus obviously is on the mental health aspect of things. And we just want to offer them that sanctuary to speak. And I feel like that's where our service is.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I think that the platform that you're offering first responders and men and women of service, it really gives us a chance to share our story, but also to learn from one another, because it doesn't just stop here, right? When people have the opportunity to be exposed to this podcast, even myself now, right? I'm excited to see previous and next conversations you're going to have, and just listen to folks and listen about their journey, about what made them who they are and what led them into service, and then how they've grown from that thereafter, right? Because man, if you keep your ears open, you can always learn from somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely learned a lot from different walks of life as far as the first responder realm and also the military. You know, the military was a big part of my family uh, from World War II all the way down. And plus, first responders, my dad was a firefighter when I was a baby. And my cousin and my uncles were, in the military. And my cousin was obviously a first responder, sheriff's deputy.
Right.
So that's kind of where my bloodline is. Not that I
Yeah.
served myself, but that's my connection to it.
And I think, and I appreciate you sharing that with me. And I feel like oftentimes too, like when we, or at least myself, when I consider first responders or um, service, people of service, I mean, that encompasses a lot. I mean, we're talking about paramedics, we're talking about doctors and nurses, and we're also talking about teachers, right? So
Mhm.
nowadays, maybe not all teachers, but fundamentally teachers, right? That's a lot of service in there. I mean, think about it. Um, if you have children, your kids spend more time at school with the teachers than they do with you.
Right.
And so that time that teacher is spending with your child, that will shape their future. And so there's nothing more important than making sure you as a parent is ever present in that relationship with your teacher, with your school, with your community, because the kids, that fellowship that they have at school, and then of course at home.
Right. So let's talk about your dad's discipline and your brother's illness real quick. Uh, that created obviously a unique family environment for you. What stands out to you the most from those early years?
Yeah, so I mean, my father, he's a man of very little words. He's old school army, and I told you once before, you know, he's when I think of Full Metal Jacket and I think of that drill instructor, that was, and I think of my father. He's just really old school, so he doesn't have a lot
Army
to
Emery.
say, and he generally just doesn't like anyone, you know.
Yeah.
And I talked a little bit before about leading by example. So through that hardship, what I saw is a man of faith and conviction, right? And no matter what, always accountable, always responsible, and always delivering. No excuses. Was always there for his family. And so, you know, like every family, we all have instances where we're faced with challenges and obstacles and death and growth. It's just what we do with that, right? And so when you're a child, well, who do you look to? You look to your parents and you see how they behave and how they respond. And I'd have to say, hey, they were great examples for me. And
Right.
I've taken that, and that's shaped me on how I deal with stress and challenges today as an adult.
By their example, you're able
Exactly.
to deal with those obstacles and the things that come your way.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I wish that everybody, you know, the majority of the country would have been raised in a manner that would be like that, because you know, obviously, a lot of kids these days just are not raised the right way.
No respect for adults, and
Yeah.
just, so my father, what he taught us is that despite what your perceived disability may or may not be, and I shared with you at one time that my brother, when he was born, he had meningitis, and
Mhm.
and then there were disabilities that came with that later on. From the outside in, he just was a really handsome, tall guy, really strong, but fundamentally there were some challenges, right?
Yeah.
And when he was younger, they were more obvious. And my father always taught us, the only excuse that you have in life is the one that you make for yourself. There's nothing that exists that can hold you from achieving what you want to achieve. Only yourself. You just got to believe. You have to have faith.
Amen to that. Yeah. Your father was a wise man.
Oh, he definitely doesn't say much, but when he does say it,
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah. Definitely open your ears and listen.
Absolutely.
That definitely caught my attention.
Yeah. I realize that when you don't think and you don't listen, you talk out the side of your neck. Nothing good comes out of that.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. Uh, so you became a two-time junior Olympian, and you're ranked number 4 in the U.S. What did running at that level teach you about yourself?
It taught me discipline.
Okay.
It taught me that with focus, with discipline, and I always talk about faith, because if you don't have it, you're not going very far, right? So there could be people that can be bigger, stronger, taller, but if you work hard, no one can out hustle you. If you
Exactly.
believe that and you have faith, the sky's the limit. But stay grounded, or you'll get lost in the message.
Right. Exactly.
So, it wasn't about winning trophies. It really wasn't. It was about learning how I could be the best version of myself.
Right. That is definitely a very powerful message. Because a lot of people think, when you're competing in sports and activities, that it's all about winning. They don't realize that it's more about themselves and improving themselves to be you know, a better version of themselves, like you said.
Amen. Absolutely.
Yeah. I played sports and I played football and baseball. Didn't win any trophies, but I loved it. You know, it definitely shaped who I am.
It's the thrill of competition. It's the understanding that uh, you just got to give it your all, and if you don't win, that's okay. And I say
Right.
that I say that to say that if you don't win, doesn't mean you didn't win.
Right.
You know, caveat here. My son, oftentimes, my wife, she'll say, "Hey, look, your son, he got a 90 today," and maybe tomorrow she might say, "Oh, he got a 60 today." And my message is always the same to my son. I'll say, "Son, how do you feel about it?" Because for me, that's the most important thing. I could care less if he got a 90 or a 60. I want to understand if he did his best.
Right.
Because if he got that 60, but he gave it his all, well, hey, you know what? This is a learning opportunity for us, son.
Right.
Let's circle the wagons. Let's figure it out. Let's study. Let's look, and let's move on. But on the same token, if you did that 90, but you feel like you could have done better, well, you shortchange yourself, son.
Right.
So now we need to learn from that too.
Exactly. So you graduated early, correct? Okay, that was in and you graduated with honors in 1996. What pushed you to aim higher when most teenagers are just coasting?
Just excellence above all else. Excellence in everything we do, right? So there's that discipline. I mean, I've never been the type of person that just I've been okay with the okay.
Mhm.
Eager and excited to learn, staying focused, staying disciplined, moving forward, trying to understand how I can become the best version of myself.
Right.
And so, yeah, I graduated pretty early. And the drawback to that is that I don't feel like I was ready. I mean, while I knew I wanted to go to college, I wasn't ready for it. And so I was just walking in the mall one day, and I knew that I had a long line of service in the military. And I thought to myself, you know what? Well, maybe it's my turn. I've got a lot to
Right.
learn, right? I don't got it all figured out. So I was too young, though. I was 17 years old. And, you know, much to the dismay of my mother, she definitely didn't want me. She's like, you need to go to college, I don't want you to go to the military, et cetera, et cetera. And I could see my father was proud. And he said, son, this is what you want to do? I said, yes, sir. He said, all right. I only have one condition. You're not joining the army. And I said, okay. They had to sign. So, I went to all of them. I scored really, really well on my ASVAB. And so I could pick any job I wanted, and I could go to any service I wanted to. I said, well, okay, what does that mean? He said, you're joining the Air Force. And I was like, all right, I'll join the Air Force. And then I picked my job, and it was security police, later transformed into security forces. And so then when he saw it, he said, well, I didn't mean for you to become a grunt. I meant something else for you. But if you're happy, son, I'm happy for you. So
Yeah. Yeah. He wanted something else for you, but you still fell into the family line of things.
the family business. My dad was 10th Mountain Division, went through Ranger School. I mean, he did his time in the dirt and in the sand. So, of course, it's not that he didn't want that for me or he did want that for me. He just wanted to make sure that I was happy and safe. And the best way to do that is training with the most elite, bravest, strongest, best military force the world has ever seen.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of my service.
That's awesome. Definitely thank you for your service and what you've done for your country,
It
for our
was
country.
an honor. Thank you.
Yeah, we definitely need more brave men and women to, serve our country and to stand up, you know, to guard us and protect us from, obviously, we have a world full of nastiness. So we definitely need that in our country.
We do. I genuinely feel that everyone in some form or capacity should serve this country. And I don't necessarily mean just in the military. You have to find out what that means. If you don't understand what service before self means, we've got this, I think the greatest project, if you will, in the history of mankind, the United States of America. It's a constitutional republic. And I remember when I was a kid, every single day growing up in Central Texas, we said the Pledge of Allegiance every single day. I was proud of it.
Mhm.
I'm not sure that that's something that they do every day now here in all of these United States, in all 50 states. I don't know if that's something that they do. And if you ask me, I think from kindergarten through 12th grade, that should be mandated every single day. Every child should be saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Now they have a right. If they don't want to say it, that's okay. You can abstain. But I think it's something that should be part of our education system. And I say that to say, because there's no way that we can have faith in our country, in our community, if we don't learn that from the very beginning.
Right.
And by saying the Pledge of Allegiance, that is a way for you to begin to understand what the conversation means in terms of the sacrifice that's been given for this country, being proud of who you are and where you are. Sometimes the best way to do that is by going overseas, moving outside of your comfort zone, and understanding that really what we have here is just the greatest experiment in the history of mankind. You're not going to find a better example of that anywhere else. You really aren't.
Exactly. Yeah, I remember growing up and, saying the Pledge of Allegiance for many years. I mean, we hadn't stopped doing that when I was in school.
Right.
I graduated in 94. So, I mean, we still said the Pledge of Allegiance, and I don't know what happened to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a slippery slope here, man. I truly believe that where we started to witness the decay of our country and the divisions that we have, that started, I'd have to admit, even in somewhere in the 1990s, right? While I was in school, you started to see this division, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this wedge only grew much larger the more and more that we remove faith from discussion, right?
Right.
So the Pledge of Allegiance is another way that I'm trying to say is it's a demonstration of faith. It's a demonstration of faith in our country. When you take that out of the everyday, then it's going to be very difficult for us to be able to see another 250 years.
Right.
I really believe that. And I could be mistaken, but I was told recently by someone that most great, not all, there are some outliers like the Romans and the Egyptians, but most great civilizations, the average lifespan is 250 years. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, how old is the United States of America? 249 years. We got like another 6 months or so. We're really close to that 250 mark.
Yeah.
I've never seen this country more divided than what it is today. But the good news is that we've had these inflection points in our history and we've been able to overcome them.
Yeah.
Because we have had faith. And if we make sure that we continue to have that faith of dialogue, of discussion with one another, then hey, man, we've got another 250 years in us, if not more.
Right. Thinking about Charlie Kirk, we realize that words are very powerful. And you got to have that open dialogue.
Yeah.
If you don't, that's where the collapse happens.
Talking about Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to paraphrase him because You get a great leader like this once in a lifetime. And I truly believe that he was anointed by God. I believe he was a man of faith. And I know there's going to be a lot of folks out there, they don't subscribe to that and they don't agree with me, and that's okay. I mean what I say. I'm unapologetic in what I'm sharing with you right now. But I'm going to summarize something I read about him recently, where he said, American values are very simple. I want to get married, right? I want to have children, and I want to buy a house. It's that simple.
Right.
It really is that simple. And so then how we interpret how to get to those, how to achieve those things, and how to obtain them, that's where the dialogue may be different. Folks may have a different idea how you get those things, but fundamentally, we all agree on that, I think. And so there, we've got common ground. Let's start there.
Yeah. That is the American dream. That's what everybody dreamed of having: family, life, home, great job, stability.
That's right. But that said, a great job. There are a lot of caveats here, because with the way the economy has been for quite some time with inflation. I mean, shoot, man, here in Texas, I remember when I was in high school, for a gallon of gas, unleaded gas, it was 60 cents.
Yeah.
60 cents. In Texas, where we pump and refine the dang thing here, we're at like $2.69 a gallon.
Yeah.
And this is in my lifetime. And so the unfortunate consequence to that is that folks just finding it really hard to be able to afford anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have moms and dads that are, because of the struggle to provide for their families, they're out there working hard and they're not at home. And so if they got younger kids, what does that mean? Their kids are at daycare, and that means their kids are being raised by strangers, right?
Yep.
They spend less time with their kids. And so who's teaching them that faith?
Right. They're not getting it.
They're not getting it. And we see the result of that.
And they're learning bad behaviors from outside sources.
And they're doom scrolling, and everyone's just, they're getting their fix through social media, and it creates a larger divide between all of us, because unfortunately nowadays, many of us, that's where we get we're not diligent enough to really investigate and research the full context of anything. 10-15 seconds and we've made our decision on what we think is being what the political environment is, or XYZ topic. We have an opinion now, right, because our opinion leaders have given us their 10-second spiel on it, right. And so we've got a lot of work to do, but none of that can be done if we don't have faith in conversation, and we need to do that.
Exactly. Conversation is key. Faith definitely is a must.
Absolutely.
So when we talked about your career in the Air Force, what do you remember most about those first days of service?
Oh, it was great to put on that uniform. I mean, I felt like I truly had the opportunity to learn and grow, serve my country, understand. In the Air Force, the core values are integrity first, service before self, excellence in all we do. And so I was very comfortable and familiar with those things because I learned that from my dad. I learned it at home, right? And now I got to put them into action. And so what I saw it was an affirmation of what my dad already taught me. And now I saw it in motion. And I saw that if you didn't have those things, then teamwork doesn't work.
Right. They say now teamwork makes the dream work, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Without that, you have a major decay and collapse. It's very important to have that teamwork and that effort.
Absolutely.
work together.
Absolutely.
Especially in this day and age and the time that we live in now, it's pretty bleak.
It is. But you know what? It's not a lost cause here. What we have, it's not lost. There's still an opportunity for us to come together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it really starts with the now. So not the next generation, the now generation. The now generation, as much as some of the things that we've talked about, you know, that we feel that are the obstacles and the challenges, I have also seen more than I ever witnessed or understood when I was that age, a significant amount of the now generation getting out there and sharing what their wants and needs are, understanding that if they want what we had, they must be involved, that they have a voice, and they need to not only sit at the table, but they need to be heard. And it's incumbent upon us not only to listen to them, but to embrace them and embrace their message.
Yeah. Because they are the future.
That's right.
You know, our kids and the upcoming generations, they are the future. And if we can't protect and take care of them, then what was it all for?
Yes. You know, I heard recently, I was watching one of the podcasts from Candace Owens, and she says that oftentimes when she and Charlie Kirk, when they had discussion, and they were talking about things, but things even left done, and instead of saying the rest is history, they'd always say the rest is future.
Right.
They couldn't have said it any better than that. It is. The rest is future.
That it is. I listen to Candace Owen a lot, so I really like her. I like Charlie Kirk.
Me too.
And
yeah.
So at least we have Candace still.
Yeah. And you know, the great thing about, I feel, podcasters such as Candace or yourself is that they're okay to be themselves. They're genuine.
Yeah.
You know, and you feel that when you listen to folks, right? You know that they're being real people. They're not sitting up there and they're trying to tell you what someone else told them to tell you, or they feel like you want to hear. You're not doing that. You know, you're speaking your truth.
Exactly.
And people see that. It comes across the screen. And that's why nowadays when people want, you know, they're not watching Montel Jordans and Jerry Springer and, you know, Oprah Winfrey. They're watching podcasts.
Right.
Because it's real. It's not prompted.
We will return after this quick ad break.
The William H. Bill Butler Jr. Foundation is on a mission to honor first responders and support those who serve. We provide scholarships for families who have lost a hero in the line of duty, offer second chances to juvenile offenders who are working to rebuild their future, and help new recruits pursuing careers as first responders. Through generous donations and the sale of merchandise, we're building a community that uplifts, empowers, and creates lasting impact. You can be a part of this mission as well. Visit 8158podcast.com to donate or shop today. Together, we can support those who serve, honor those we've lost, and give hope to those who need it most. Behind every badge is a story, and behind every story is a sacrifice. This is the 8158 podcast, where we honor the lives and legacies of first responders and their families. If our mission speaks to your heart, if these stories move you like they move us, join us on Patreon. For just $5 a month, you'll get ad-free listening, exclusive merchandise, behind-the-scenes content, and video episodes only available to our patrons. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement, and you can be a part of it. Support us at patreon.com/8158podcast. Let's continue to share the stories that deserve to be heard.
Yeah, genuine. I asked Brienne one time, I was like, what makes it so special? Like the podcast has grown quite a bit. And she just says, because you're genuine. You are a genuine person and you show care and compassion for people. And they like that about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it makes me feel good. It makes me feel validated because honestly, I didn't really think the podcast was going to go anywhere. And when she proposed it to me, I was like, no, I don't think so. And then something told me it was like something that I felt in my gut that I had to do.
There you
And
go.
this was in honor of my cousin, and I wanted to speak out against that. And, you know, we came across the mental health aspect of what military and first responders go through, and that totally hit home. And I realized that that's something that my cousin would have wanted us to focus on.
Right. Yeah. And, I always say, and they talk about this in the Bible, right? I'm no expert in all the words of the Lord, but, I remember bits and pieces of it, right? And you just treat people the way you want to be treated, right?
Yeah.
And so, because you never know what somebody's going through, you truly don't. And so, having served overseas, and I came back with some of my friends, and some of them have committed suicide, and they look happy on the outside, and you just don't see the signs, and you don't know. And then you take that guilt with you because you think, how could I have not seen that? How could I have not been there for that person? People are suffering. And so just treat everyone with kindness. Treat them the way you want to be treated.
Exactly.
And if they want to sit down and have that conversation with you, make that time. There's no one that's too busy where you can't make time to sit down with someone and listen to them if they want to have a conversation with you.
Yep. Exactly. Make the time. There's always time.
Always
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. So let's talk about after 9/11. You were recalled to active duty and deployed to the Middle East. What was going through your head at that moment in history? Because that was obviously a pivotal point in our history.
Oh, absolutely. Well, firstly, I had no idea what was going on. I think like everyone else, I shared with you once that I had just finished my first enlistment. I had left active duty a couple months earlier. 9/11 that same day, I got a phone call, and they said, "Hey, Airman Montanez, yes, speaking. Well, you've got 45 minutes." I had to be out there on the flight line. They threw us in the skiff, gave us the lowdown, and we're walking on the flight line. We were in a dock, walking on the flight line, putting on our gear, getting our shots, and all this kind of stuff, and then the rest is history, right? And being deployed and all this kind of stuff. But one thing I knew deep in my heart, that when my country called to serve, I was there. I was ready.
Right.
I was willing. I was capable, and I'd do it again. In fact, I feel like it's time to serve again, and that's why I decided to run for Congress.
That's awesome. Definitely always in service, serving your country one way or another.
I think,
Love it.
once you, sorry.
I love it. That's pretty awesome.
I appreciate that. And I think, I'm not the first and I'm not the last, but I feel like any one of us that have ever been called to service, whether it's law enforcement, whether it's healing others, or teaching others, defending our country. When you understand that, it doesn't end when you take off the uniform. It stays with you for life.
Exactly. That it does. Share a little bit of something. When I was growing up, I had, a very few amount of friends. I kept my circle really tight, and selective. But weird thing is, years later, my friends would come up to me and tell me, "You remember this thing that you said? It helped me think this way, and it changed my life, or it did this, and you taught me this." And I'm like, I don't remember any of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have no idea where that came from. I don't understand it.
And so to your point that, when people are pure of heart, you have an impact. And at any given time, you may not realize you're having an impact on someone.
Right.
Just keep in mind that people are always looking at you. People are always trying to understand who you are, where you are, what you are, even when you're not on, right? So if you just stay true to who you are, like you did, you were doing it out of the goodness of your heart.
Right.
You weren't doing it for likes and shares and social engagement. You were doing it because you were being there for someone, and you were just being you.
Right.
And that's what we need more of in this country.
Just more genuine people to
kind
of help guide people along. I guess, somebody told me that one time that maybe it was just you didn't realize that you're helping them in that way. So it doesn't stick with you, but it's stuck with them. So, I mean, that could be, you never know.
Yeah. But it makes you feel good too, though,
Yeah.
Knowing that you had a positive impact on someone, intentional or not.
Right. Especially at such a young age.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it speaks volumes about you, right?
Early preteen, teenage years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of weird, but it was kind of cool, I guess, in a way. Back then, I thought it was weird, but today, I mean, obviously having a better understanding.
Well, it says a lot about you. Like, so, and I feel like I can relate a little bit. When people compliment you or they share these wonderful stories about you, I mean, I feel like if you're uncomfortable with that praise, that just shows that you're not a narcissist, right?
Right.
Because, I mean, you weren't doing it for you,
Right.
so it's okay, right?
Right.
But it's hard to learn to say, oh, okay, thank you. I appreciate
Right.
that.
Right. It is kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, so let's jump into some education and global perspectives here. After the military, you took a leap and you earned an MBA in China and living in Asia for about 10 years. What did living abroad teach you about America?
Oh, it taught me that there's no better place than home. And so there's no way that you can understand and appreciate what you have until you don't have it, right? But also, when living and working abroad, not only in Asia and Europe, where I was overseas for more than 20 years, and then I still travel significantly overseas. And when you do that, you see firsthand, not only my time in the military, but also in the private sector,
Mhm.
you witness firsthand, you have the opportunity to witness firsthand what poverty really is. You have a chance to see what unchecked borders looks like and the impact of that. You see crime at its worst, right? You see folks arriving in desperation because borders are unchecked. And
Right.
unfortunately for them, when they arrive, because they feel like they've arrived to they've arrived to the promised land. They followed the yellow brick road, only to witness that what they arrived to doesn't meet their expectations. And that creates desperate people. And desperate people in desperate times do desperate things, right?
Yeah.
And so, in seeing this crime and everything out of control and socialism and anarchy, witnessing that abroad,
Yeah.
and then coming back to the United States and I have begun to see it take root here in Dallas, where I live. I thought, oh, not on my watch. No, no, what can I do? And so immediately when I set up a small business here in Dallas and I started witnessing this in my neighborhood, I walked into the local county political party office and I said, what can I do? How can I help? I knew it was time to serve. And then there you go. It led to where we are today.
Right. Yeah. We had that discussion before. I was thinking about doing that. making some time to give a little bit of service there in that aspect. And
Yeah.
Once I get everything else, everything that we have going on, it's almost done. So try not to overstack myself with a lot of work. But
Well, that's what overachievers do, right? So they take on more than they can chew, and
yeah,
but they keep on going. They keep on moving forward. So
right.
I can understand that. I appreciate it.
Um, so now meeting your wife in Hong Kong, it feels like a turning point. Um, how did that chapter shape who you are today?
Well, it's some of what I shared with you. I had the opportunity to live and work all over the world, right? But what I must say is that um, m- me becoming a husband and starting a family, I definitely realized that it's much more than just me, and much more than just my service before self to my job or to the community. It's also
Hmm.
now family, right? And so we had a son, and that's when I realized, okay, I get it. What my father did, what he was trying to show me, how my mother raised me, the yes versus the no, it all made sense. And so my wife made me a better person. She makes me a better person. She keeps me honest.
Yeah,
And, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
that's pretty awesome. Yeah, uh, I definitely can relate to that. Brienne, obviously, she's my productions manager, but she's always pushing me to do better. And
Even when it's uncomfortable.
yes, even when it's uncomfortable, and I do it, and I become a better man for it.
Yeah.
I couldn't be more grateful and feel more blessed.
Amen, brother. I mean, like what I've noticed is that, with my wife, when I go against the grain, it usually doesn't come out very good. And I don't mean, I don't mean because happy wife, happy life. I'm just saying that she's able to see things, the full context of everything in ways sometimes I just don't see it. Right.
Right.
And so I've learned we've been together now, this year's 20 years.
Wow.
And so what I've learned is when she shares something with me, listen,
Yeah.
just listen.
Smart
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how smart I am, but I tell you what, that in that regard, I've learned a lesson or two.
Yeah. Definitely listen to the wife.
Hmm.
She sounds like she's a very intelligent woman.
For me, she is. I mean, she's wow. I'm so lucky. And what she sees in me, I have no idea.
Yeah.
She's a great cook. My wife she's Italian from Rome, Italy.
Wow.
So yeah, she's just for me perfect. Everything about her. She's beautiful. She's intelligent. She could be and do anything. She could be anyone she wanted to be. She could do anything she wanted to do. And she's devoting herself to being my wife and the mother of my children. I'm blessed. I
Wow.
truly am.
That's pretty awesome. You are definitely blessed.
Well, we all are in our own ways, right? I think that the biggest thing is
Absolutely.
just recognizing that, right?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely feel blessed with my life, you know, coming from where I came from and being where I am now. I feel very blessed, you know, and having a beautiful wife to go along with it. She's the main part of it, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I'd say I'm pretty blessed, and we got 2 mutts too. Yeah, so
There you go.
gotta love the dogs.
Yeah, man. I grew up with dogs, and I don't because I travel so much. I just don't really. I don't have the time. I just think that you have to be responsible, right? And
Yes,
they're living beings as well. You got to love them, and if you can't treat
Yeah.
them right, then So unfortunately, I don't have any pets. I did have a hamster. I got my kids a hamster, and well, I didn't really know much about hamsters, and I think one day I came home and they were like, "Hey, Papa, the hamster's not moving," and it had already been like 2.5 years, and I thought, man, he died pretty early. And I checked it out, and I could be wrong. I think the average lifespan of a hamster is like a year or a year and a half, and I think about a year and a half, they're already like 100 and something years old in human years or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, oh my goodness, 2.5 years. I mean, we literally had Yoda. I mean, this
Yeah.
it was like a Guinness Book of World, right? It's some sort of record or something. We should have like annotated this, right?
Right.
It's like the longest living hamster in the history of mankind.
Right.
Maybe I'm off on the timing, but I know it's something like that.
Yeah.
And so they've asked me, can we have another hamster? And I thought, well, but clearly it wasn't traumatic to them because they want another one.
Right.
But that's one of those things we say, ask your mother.
Ask your mother.
Yeah.
Oh. So you run your own business, correct?
Yes, sir.
You're running your own business now? Okay. Including one helping veterans that get medical appointments and stuff like that. What's a moment from that work that reminds you why service doesn't end when the uniform comes off?
Yeah, oftentimes there are a lot of veterans. I mean, we have two parts of the business. It's non-emergency medical transportation. And what that means for the most part is wheelchair transportation, folks that are disabled, but also folks that just don't have the means to get to their doctor's appointments, their medical appointments. And so we do it for veterans, and we also do it for nursing homes and assisted living facilities and rehab hospitals and stuff like that, right? But oftentimes, many of these folks, they just want fellowship. They want to know they've lost their sense of community, and they want that back.
Yeah.
And so what you give them an opportunity is just to be around someone, to listen, to be with them. It's that fellowship that I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not just about taking them from point A to point B. It's about lending an ear. It's about lending a helping hand. It's about being for them when they need you and being genuine about it. They're not a number, they're a person. And that's what I love. That's what I love about this business.
Yeah, they are people. They definitely have a soul. And you said you did assisted living. Are they elderly or disabled veterans? The whole thing.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, nursing homes, rehab hospitals, assisted living centers, long-term care, and then veterans as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of times I imagine they feel lonely because a lot, especially like a lot of the elderly, don't have many family left, or their families just pretty much forgotten about them.
They don't visit them.
Yeah, that's what I mean by forgotten about them. It's like they don't come around or bother to see them.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
And you almost build, they feel like they have a sense of family. I mean, they tell you so many things. They share so many things, particularly the veterans, like the Vietnam War veterans. And, I had a gentleman, he was from the Korean War. And,
wow.
He was a Marine. And he was just a great guy. He was going to dialysis often and was taking him back and forth. And he'd just share with me all the old stories. And one day he looks at me, old Marine. He literally looked like the guy from Full Metal Jacket.
Okay.
No kidding. Yeah. Strong dude, strong handshake. And he looked at me, looked sad. And I was like, oh, what's going on, sir? Oh, Gunny, because he was a gunnery sergeant. I called him Gunny. What's going on, Gunny? And he said, and almost looked like he didn't cry. It almost looked like he was going to cry. And he said, I wanted to thank you. I want to thank you because you listen. And that really touched me. And that made me realize that when you have a business, yeah, I mean, I could probably increase my prices and all these kinds of things and make so much more money. It's not about that.
Right.
You know, I feel like a lot of businesses that they've lost that. You know, what drives them is, you know, how much more they make, as opposed to remembering who they serve. Service before self.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sad to see that a lot of corporations, they're more about their profit margins than they are, taking care of people.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like hospitals and things like that.
Yeah. Trust me, I know. I worked more than 15 years for corporate entities, and it's oftentimes it's precisely what you're just saying. It's profit. It's all about profit.
Yeah.
And sometimes just not in a sustainable way.
Yeah. It's just not. Sad.
Yeah.
So for today and the future, you wore so many hats. You were an athlete, you're a veteran, a businessman, family man. Why step into politics now? And what's the first promise you've made yourself if you win?
To always remember that I serve others and not myself.
Okay.
First and foremost, stay humble. Understand that you're not there for you. You're there for others. To listen to them. That your priority is them, not you. And I think if I stay true to that, well, then I'll do my job right.
Yeah. Now, as far as your campaign, is there anything you'd like to share with us in your campaign that we could put out there for you?
Yes. I'd say, hey, look, you can learn more about my campaign, learn on ways to support me at www.monty4congress.com. That's Monty, F-O-R, Congress.com. And there you'll learn everything about me. And you'll also, most importantly, learn how to reach me. I'm happy to have a conversation with anyone, whether you agree or disagree with me at any time.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah. I mean, you don't always have to agree with everyone, but there is common ground.
Absolutely.
And
yes, sir.
You're never going to satisfy everyone.
No, not at all. But, I think if you're just open to have a conversation with someone, if you have faith in that dialogue will keep moving us forward, all right, then we're going somewhere.
Right. Got to have that open dialogue. Without that, like we said before, things just collapse because people get ugly.
Well, then this great experiment that we have here, this constitutional republic, is nothing but a house of cards, isn't it?
Yeah. It can crumble at any moment, but there's got to be some good people that are focused on the American people and keeping that house of cards standing. Got to have a good base.
That's right.
A strong foundation, I think, is important.
And our founding fathers, they gave us that, the U.S. Constitution. Well, it's not perfect, but the great thing is that we always have ways to shape it, to change it, with what's going on in every moment that we live, right? So the times change, and we have the opportunity together as a collective to make those changes to fit what we believe in at that moment. So if we have faith in that Constitution and we have faith in one another, well, then what was it that we said that Charlie Kirk said? The rest is future.
The rest is future. Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens.
That's right.
Yeah. Definitely love those two. Sad to see that Charlie is no longer with us, but he is in spirit.
Well, he's galvanized an entire generation.
Yeah. He definitely has. And I mean, I only just started listening to his podcast like maybe a few months ago. And the effect that it had on me was just profound. And seeing the effect around the world that it had, that he had on everybody around the world was just astounding.
Yeah. And I mean, I've lost friends over my political leanings. I've lost friends when I've shared content from Candace Owens or Charlie Kirk and others. And it's because sometimes when you have friendships and you don't have those uncomfortable conversations, uh, and then when you finally do, um, that's when you really get to understand how deep that relationship you had or you didn't have, right?
Right. Right.
But what I did notice is that a lot of folks that they they don't scratch beneath the surface. Charlie Kirk, for example, they oftentimes people have these preconceived notions of what they feel he was or who. None of us. I never met him. I don't know him. But when I started to understand, I started watching him maybe a year or so ago. Actually, about 2 years ago. And what's all the controversy behind this guy? He's pretty
Mhm.
intelligent. And but I was only seeing clips, and I thought, I really need to see the whole
Yeah, the
context
whole
of what's
picture.
going
Yeah.
on here before I make a decision. And actually, it was a friend of mine that I feel like, I mean, I hope I didn't, but he unfollowed me and this kind of stuff, and it hurts to know that. But I respect his need to grow in a different way. It is what it is. But he did reach out to me and said, "Do you know who this guy is and what he stands for, and his point of view on his perception of who Charlie Kirk was?" And I thought, well, I didn't know these things about him. I didn't see it that way because the algorithm didn't show me that, right? So I
Right.
decided to go to YouTube and see full context of what he was saying. And then I understood it. Oh, it's not me and misunderstanding, it's you misunderstanding.
Right.
So, the older we get, sometimes the more focused we get on who we surround ourselves with, right?
Right.
And it's
Exactly.
okay. It's okay.
Yeah. You know, um, I've definitely had to cut people out of my life that were um, just a negative. Even family members I've had to cut out, not over political stuff or anything like that. It's just their negative energy was so heavy that it was dragging me down with them.
That's right.
So unfortunately, I had to basically cut them out.
And it's not easy, but it's good for you because being in a toxic environment, it's not good for you all around. And
Right.
there's no way to grow
Right.
from that, right? So I applaud you in that. And these are tough decisions sometimes that we have to make. And not everyone has the wherewithal that they have the strength, the inner strength to do what you did, right?
Right.
Uh, so, good on you, brother.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it wasn't easy, but I had that realization that I cannot grow if I'm not giving, like in the scriptures it says iron sharpens iron. If I keep banging my sword against a rock, it's going to get dull.
Yeah.
So I just remove my sword from the rock and just focus it on sharpening itself with the iron.
There you go, brother.
And now this is what I'm doing, you know, helping people. Service first, before
Amen.
self.
That's right. Yeah.
I'll remember that.
Yeah, I live by that every single day of my life, and it hasn't steered me wrong yet.
Exactly. I appreciate that. And, you know, I really wish the best for you, and, we'll be rooting for you. Is there any way that people can donate to your campaign or anything like that?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, once again, I appreciate that, and likewise, wishing you all the best with the podcast. You have an ally in me. So when I get to Washington, hey, We had him on 8158, and hopefully this is not the last time we get to share podcasts with one another.
Absolutely.
So again, www.montyforcongress.com. That's FOR Congress.com. And there's a donate button there. There's a way you can reach out to me and connect with me and my team. There's a way you can learn more about me. And there's just a lot more to come, and I'm going to be excited to share it with everyone.
Yeah, we'll be rooting for you, and we'll be looking for you at the White House or in Washington, D.C.
Well, the White House, I don't know about all that.
But, I didn't mean the White House, but yeah. In D.C., the Capitol building, whatever.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that one's a tough one.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'll go where God calls me.
Yeah. Wherever he leads, you go.
That's right.
Yeah, I believe that's where he's led me, is right here for the time being.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome. I mean, you're providing a platform for people to really share their experience, and that's how others can learn and grow. So, hey, brother, you're serving, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. You're very welcome. It's been an honor to have you on here and to see you, from starting from the bottom, working your way up, hopefully into Congress. I like seeing people thrive and grow. And it'll definitely be a great thing to see your journey thrive.
Well, I'm happy you allowed me to share a little bit of that journey with you, brother. And we'll be keeping in touch. Thank you for having me.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll definitely have you back on here in the future, whenever you want. Go ahead and just reach out, schedule whatever.
All right, appreciate you. God bless you and your family, and we'll be in touch.
God bless you as well, and have a wonderful night, and love your family.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, take care.
Bye. All right, everybody. That was Monty Montanez. He's a former military. He was in the Air Force, military police. Great man. He's running for Congress. We need great leaders in this country. We need leaders who love God, love their families, and are willing to stand up to do what is right. Ones that are serving first before self. I don't want to get into the rabbit hole with the government and what's going on today and what's happened previously, but it hasn't been good. So we definitely need to focus on being American, healing ourselves, lifting ourselves up, lifting each other up, growing as Americans. This is our country. So it is up to us to grow and thrive and to build one another up and to love each other as Americans and to take care of each other. And that starts in the home. It starts with yourself, starts with your family, growing in God. There's a process, a healing process. And I just hope that everybody that's listening will, seek comfort in that or to take it to heart. With that being said, this is 8158 Podcast, Stories of Sacrifice. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I look forward to having Monty back on here after he has made it to the Capitol. Good night, everyone, and God bless. Thank you for joining us on 8158 Stories of Sacrifice. Every story we share is a tribute to the courage and resilience of first responders and their families. If this episode impacted, encouraged, or inspired you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with someone who supports first responders. Follow us on all social media platforms at 8158 Podcast for updates. 8158 Stories of Sacrifice is a team effort. Rico brings the stories to life through casting, writing, original music, and editing. Brianne Shipley as production manager, handling booking, social media, graphics, promotion, marketing, website management, and logo design. Please visit our website at 8158podcast.com. For questions, collaborations, or to share your story, our email address is contactus@8158podcast.com. Until next time, let's continue to honor the legacies and remember the sacrifices of those who serve, every brave man and woman on the front lines, protecting and defending us all. This is Rico signing off and honoring 8158.